what's up, y'all? This is another episode of Notable Prisons and the Inmates that Occupy them. But this is a way different episode. We're going to talk about Brittany Griner, the chick that's locked up in Russia. But before we get into it, let me just say this. You don't need to get your lighters ready, but if you could subscribe and follow the Instagram that's in the bio, that would mean a lot. So, anyways, let's just touch a little bit on it. Where the prison she's at. So, she is at FKU, Corrective Colony number 2 of the FSIN of Russia for the Republic of Mordovia, or simply IK2 Yavis, which is a woman's prison in Russia that's located near Yavis, about 300 miles southeast of Moscow. Okay? So, give y'all some of the... Anyways, so the prison conditions in Mordovia are regarded by many as having conditions harsher than most Russian prisons. According to the University of Helsinki sociology Olga Zavelova, who works with the Gulag Echoes project studying Russian prison conditions, prisons in Mordovia are notoriously terrible, even by Russian standards. The prisons there are known for the harsh regimes and human rights violations. According to The Guardian, a popular saying among female prison inmates in Russia is, if you haven't done time in Mordovia, you haven't done time at all. The prison was built as a part of a system of similar prisons in the region in the 1930s during the Soviet era. University of Oxford scholar Judith Pallett described the prison as being stuck in time for 50 years. Violence from other prisoners and prison guards is not as frequent as in men prisons, but it isn't uncommon. Prisoners at IK2, Mordovia, and human rights organizations have lodged complaints about conditions. Former inmate Olga Shalavia, who was released in 2017, described frequent beatings by the senior official and was later placed, that senior official that was beating him was later placed in charge of the facility. He was replaced by Yelena Polzdennikova after a 2021 investigation by the Russian authorities. Now, because of his remote location, human rights organizations have little access for scrutinizing the conditions. And inmates are housed here in a dormitory style with 100 bunks in a bed in a large room. Personal belongings are not permitted. There is little supervision at night. So just imagine 100 people in like the barracks with little supervision at night. I'm sorry, I don't know why I repeated that. Anyways, prisoners wake up at 6 a.m. with group exercises. They got to get them burpees, program time 5. Then operate sewing machines for 10 to 12 hours per day, producing uniforms for military and prison service members. I haven't been watching too much of the news, but I wonder how's the war going out there in Russia. If you guys are familiar with that, let me know in the comments. So, now let's talk about it. Brittany Griner. She was transferred to IK2 to serve a 9-year sentence for possession of marijuana. The Guardian wrote that according to a Pallet and other human rights experts, it was no coincidence that the authorities had chosen to send Griner to IK2. And she had got caught with a pen, like, a little THC pen. Now, this is the part of the episode that I have something we've never done. I'm going to just talk directly to y'all and just let me know what y'all think in the comments. So, I think that this is definitely one of those political things because I've seen that they wanted the arms smuggler, to release her. I mean, if America really wanted her back that bad and that's all they had to do, Victor Bout, that's the name, they should just do a swap. Just meet up in the middle of the ocean, have the aircraft carriers meet up, park them side by side. You push one person in one other boat, and you push another person in another boat, and they sail off into the sunset, bada bing, bada boom. You know what I mean? And also, what are some other prisons out there in Russia that you might want to hear me cover? And then, Yeah, hold on, guys. 1 second. I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about this. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this is pretty much what happened with as far as the Brittany Griner, her whole situation. On February 17th, 2022, Griner was arrested for smuggling charges in Russia. She was detained at the international airport after Federal Customs Service found that she was carrying a vape cartridge containing less than a gram of hash oil. She had been prescribed medical cannabis in Arizona, which is illegal in Russia. Some of the U.S. officials have expressed concern that Russia may be using her as leverage in response to the Western sanctions imposed against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. Former Pentagon official Evelyn Farkas expressed concern that Griner could be used as a high-profile hostage, a political pawn, in other words, people, by Russia. The Houston, Texas Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee called for Griner's release. In an interview with CNN, California Democratic Congressman John Garamendi estimated that it would be very difficult to get Griner out of Russia. He stated that although there might be negotiations to have a release, they would be stifled by the fact that the diplomatic relationship between Russia and the United States were strained because of President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. I wonder if maybe player Trump might be able to help, get her back. Because, he did meet with Putin and Kim Jong-un. That's kind of big. I'm just saying now. Mind you, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm just saying. Anyways, in March 2022, Russian state news agency TASS reported that a Moscow court had extended the period of Griner's detention while under investigation on May 19th. With an official from the Russia Public Monitoring Commission stating that the only objective problem has turned out to be the basketball player's height. The beds in the cell are clearly intended for a person's lesser of the height. On March 23rd, the United States Department of State stated that an American diplomatic official had been able to visit Griner in a detention, reporting that she was in good condition. In early May 2022, the U.S. Department stated that they have determined Griner was being wrongfully detained, indicating a more aggressive approach towards securing her release. On May 13, CNN reported that the Russian court extended her pretrial detention to June 18, 2022. Griner's Russian attorney, Alexander Boykov, told the Associated Press he believed the relatively short extension of the detention indicated that the case would come to trial soon. On May 15th, it was reported that the United States and Russia would consider a prisoner swap, with Russia exchanging Griner for international legal arms dealer Victor Bout, who has served 10 years of a 25-year federal prison sentence in the United States. In May 2022, in her first public interview since Griner was detained, Griner's wife, Cheryl, spoke to Good Morning America and called Griner a political pawn. Cheryl stated she has heard from Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying, "I was grateful for the call. You say she's top priority, but I want to see it." And then, when the trial came around, in a closed-door hearing on June 27th, a court in Khimki scheduled Griner's trial to begin on July 1st, and extended detention by 6 months pending the outcome of her case. According to her attorney, Alexander Boykov, she was photographed by Associated Press and Agence France Presse arriving at the hearing. On the second day of her trial, July 7th, Griner pled guilty and then said, "But there was no intent. I didn't want to break the law." Griner requested that she be allowed to give testimony to the court as soon as she had sufficient time to prepare. Oh, man, that's a tricky situation because she admitted to bringing some tree over there and knowing those people ain't want no tree, especially no good tree from California over there. You know what I mean? They hit some of this. Oh, man, they going to want some more. But anyways, on July 27, 2022, Joe Biden approved a possible trade for Griner and Paul Whelan, who was arrested in 2018 for espionage in Moscow and sentenced to 16 years in prison in exchange for Bout. Possibility of an exchange was further complicated when the Russians demanded the inclusion of convicted assassin Vladimir Krasikov, who is serving a life term for an assassination in Germany, in the negotiations. Man, they are negotiating. In July 2022, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, for the first time since the start of Russia's war on Ukraine, to whom he made an offer from the U.S. to secure the release of Griner and Whelan. According to the press, it is unlikely that Krasikov will be transferred back to Russia. And then, on August 4th, the court found Griner guilty and sentenced her to 9 years. They additionally fined her 1 million rubles. Basically, they fined her at 16 bands. Okay, that's what it breaks down out here. And then on November 17th, Griner's lawyer said that she was transferred to IK2, a female penal colony in the town of Yavis in the region of Mordovia. Previously, she was held in an undisclosed black site. So, I'm going to need y'all's opinions on this one. Let me know some in that comment section. And, man, hope y'all enjoy y'all's Thanksgiving. You dig? Gobble, gobble.